And we are back. Now we're talking about the neurotransmitters or hormones that are actually released during the flow state. And again, this is linked into what we spoke about before, about the brain frequencies, the lobes of the brain, the limbic system, prefrontal cortex, the transient hyperfrontality. When you're in that state, you get that release of neurotransmitters and hormones. And when you've been in the flow state, and you all have been, whether you like to admit it or not, no matter what level of intensity it is, you will have expressed these neurotransmitters and hormones. Okay, so these neurotransmitters and hormones are chemical messages that are released in the brain and released throughout the whole body. Okay, so first of all, you have norepinephrine. Norepinephrine speeds up the heart, improves muscle tension, it triggers the release of glucose, which gives you that energy. You get the neural efficiencies, which means you're efficient. And also you have induces the arousal and gives you a sense of emotional control. Then you have the dopamine, which I'm probably sure you're all familiar with. Dopamine gives you that feeling of engagement on the task. It gives you the excitement, adventurous sort of sensation. Gives you, like all of these, you get an instant reward. Okay, so these are potent reward chemicals. Improves attention, pattern recognition, and muscle firing time. Sorry, just to jump back onto here, the norepinephrine as well also helps with muscle tension. Okay, so back onto dopamine, the muscle firing time. Makes you like a ninja. Endorphins. So endorphins is a pain reliever. The cool thing about endorphins is that there's 100 different types of endorphins in the system, and there's one specific called beta endorphin, and that is 100 times more potent than medical morphine. You can see why people get addicted from doing extreme sports, right? When they get the feeling of these neurotransmitters and hormones. Then you have anandamide. Anandamide is a Sanskrit word meaning bliss or joy. Again, anandamide is a pain reliever, lifts the mood. It's a vasodilator, which means that it helps open up the blood vessels, creates flow, and also it gives you that. Well, it does inhibit fear. You become fearless with anandamide. Anandamide also improves lateral thinking, and anandamide is pretty closely linked to marijuana. Okay, so it has the same receptors in there. Oxytocin, the love hormone. A Greek word, my wife will like that, for quick birth. Greek word for quick birth. It's related to bonding, trust, emotional behaviour. So oxytocin really is the best way of describing it is that love connection. Group situations, whenever you've been in a group situation and you've maybe experienced, maybe going through a course or training and it's been tough and challenging, you build that connection there. That connection that you have is done through oxytocin. Serotonin affects mood, appetite, digestion, sleep and memory. Generally what happens at the end of the flow state is where serotonin is mostly expressed. Now keep in mind that generally how they would say is that an extreme sports athlete would be triggered first of all with norepinephrine and dopamine to get you switched on and engaged in the task at hand, and then you go through these different processes. But also think that sex, love, can also be a trigger to get yourself into the flow state. So oxytocin can be a way of getting yourself into the flow state. Now, you don't necessarily need to have an overwhelming sensation of these neurotransmitters and hormones. They can be just light sprinkles on top of it. It could be like a salt and pepper effect on what you're actually doing. You don't need to think that you need to experience such a dramatic, euphoric feeling all the time. When you do meditations and specific exercises that I teach inside the training program, Superhuman Code, and the meditations, you get the sensation of being in the flow state, but you can think of it like a volume control. So like an old-fashioned volume control. Okay, so you've got 1 and then you take it all the way up to 10, or if you're a Spinal Tap fan, you take it to 11. Think of the flow state, okay? Living is where you have an overwhelming, you see those people and they look wired when they've just been skydiving or something dramatic. They've really gone through all of those, okay? But you can still experience the flow state even if it's at 1 Okay, so I don't want you to be glued to the fact you need to have an overwhelming high of these neurotransmitters and hormones all the time. Remember, they're potent reward chemicals. I know they're addictive, but you can have the dial at 1 and still get the sensation of being at flow, or you can have it at 11 and be in flow. Okay, thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the next video. We're going to speak about heart rate variability.